Why the focus on behaviors? Why the focus on behaviors?
Yes, because thanks for having me on, and welcome everyone. I want to share a story first before I get into the whys and the whats and the hows and everything. But when I left school and I started my first job, I went into an environment within an organization, and from the time I entered, it is what seemed what we call a toxic environment. Everybody shouting at each other, and it was not the right place to be. Behaviors create culture, and it is what the culture was at the time in that environment. Now, I stayed there maybe for a year and a half, which in my opinion was a little too long, but I decided that it was time to leave before my losing my control and everything else became a habit. So it was time to go. Behaviors create a competitive advantage. They have a part to play in productivity and everything that we do within the environment. But behaviors create something that is observable from maybe values. When organizations say they have values and organizational values, behaviors change that into something that is observable and measurable. But where do behaviors come from? I mean, if I had to ask you a question, where was the first time that you experienced an environment? And the reason I'm asking this is because in 1936, psychologist Kurt Lewin came up with a formula. He was the one who came up with a lot of the leadership styles that we know today. Behavior is a function of a person in an environment. So when was the first time that we experienced an environment? It was in the womb. When we were in the womb, we experienced an environment. That has something to do with our behavior. That is why it's such a challenge, because look at where it starts. When we were born, we have parents who created an environment as well. When we went to school, our teachers created an environment that made us feel a certain way in the classroom. And that sort of dictated our behavior in the classroom. And now in organizations, we go into organizations and we experience an environment. And that sort of dictates a behavior. So culture, yes, behaviors create culture, but culture also has an influence on our behavior. So that is something that we always have to look at. First, as to begin, in terms of why the focus on behavior. It's very, very important.